Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sat Sangat Ji, welcome to another episode of Alcohol and Beyond. And I'm delighted to say today we're joined by a father and son who have both been codependents. And for those of you who don't know what a codependent is, it's someone who's actually lived with someone who is an alcoholic. And today, the purpose of us being here today with Stuart and Ross is to find out how life was like for them living with an alcoholic partner for Stuart and an alcoholic parent for Ross. So Sat Sangat Ji, once again I want to thank you all at home for tuning in, but also supporting the programme and phoning in for help. And can I please encourage families who are struggling, or with addicts in particular who are struggling, to carry on, continue to phone in, and we can support you and guide you through to the relevant services. Stuart, I want to come to you first, and I want to thank you for allowing us here at Abacus Studios in Derby to film this episode. And the purpose of being here really is today is to know what it's like on the other end. I know as an addict what it was like being an alcoholic, and some of the traumas I put my family through and how much I've damaged my family. But for you, on the receiving end, how difficult was it to live with your partner?
Well, it was quite difficult. I mean, you go out to work and you wouldn't know what you was coming home to. You know, you don't know whether they'd be sober, drunk. You don't even know if they were actually at home. You know, it was really difficult. Yeah, definitely.
I know Nicola, you know, as you said, was quite a bad alcoholic. But I mean, how long did her illness go on for?
About 8 years. She deteriorated in the last 2. Which then led to her death. Yeah. You know, and we just were left with cut pieces. You know, I mean, I was left to look after Ross, and you know, there's no manual with him or anything. And it's been a bit of a learning curve for me and Ross as regards to him not having his mother and me having to take sort of both roles, if you can understand what I mean. Be taking the place of his dad and taking the place of his mother. He's quite resilient, you know, and he's managed to keep going, take everything in his stride, really, which has helped me no end, you know.
So really, you both provided a lot of strength for each other, haven't you?
Yeah. More ways than one, yeah, definitely.
Ross, I want to thank you for joining us, and you don't know how this is going to, you know, help a lot of youngsters and parents who are sitting at home watching this, because a lot of young people are reluctant to come forward. But how do you, I mean, I know it's very difficult, so, you know, I do want to thank you once again, but do you remember times when your mum was drunk?
Yeah, like once I came back from school and I couldn't get in, so I had to go to my friend's house, and yeah, I couldn't get back in after that.
But do you understand what your dad went through as well? Because it must have been very difficult for your dad as well.
Yeah, it must have been very difficult for him.
And do you accept, I know you've spoken to you a lot over the last year since your mum passed away, did you ever talk about it as being an illness?
No, I just thought it was a problem.
Yeah.
So,
do you think that it is an illness and a disease now though?
Yeah, a lot of people go through this and it affects a lot of others.
Well, Stuart, that's quite interesting, because I know some people are still quite don't want to accept this as an illness, because there's a lot of resentment there, especially with the codependents, the partners, the children. There's a lot of resentment there. So that you know, they say when you take the first drink that you know what you're doing. But you know, it's important for someone as young as Ross to accept that it is an illness that his mum was experiencing. It wasn't it wasn't something she was doing out of choice, but it was an illness.
Well, I think, yeah, you know, alcohol's so easy to buy off from shops and things. It's every shop you go in, you can see it there. It's basically on the shelf in front of you, and you know, and those people that are suffering from alcoholism, it just makes it all the more easier for them to get hold of it. You know, you can walk in a shop, buy a can of lager or whatever, bottle of wine or whatever, and it doesn't help these people that, I mean, they do suffer in silence in a way, you know.
Did your wife have your partner? Did she have any trigger points? Was there any trigger points that you actually picked up on and thought, well, hang on, I'm trying to avoid going here, avoid meeting these friends, but taking it to the pub or a particular off licence where there might be special offers on. Was there any trigger points that you actually picked up on?
Not really. You know, I mean, I was at work in the daytime trying to provide for the family. She'd get drunk in the daytime. I think a lot of her problems were, it started off sociably and then escalated and spiraled out of control that way, and then she'd be drunk, go to bed, maybe wake up the next day and think to herself, you know, what have I done? Have I embarrassed myself? That sort of thing. And then she'd probably drink to cover the feelings that she was feeling from her embarrassment and wondering what she'd actually done, why she was drunk. So she'd drink more and do the same again. And I think it was just a vicious circle every day for her. You know, she'd be embarrassed, she'd drink to cover that, she'd worry that she'd done something wrong when she was drunk, and it just day in, day out, over and over again, the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and for her to break that habit, I think it was really difficult as well.
Ross, I know this is your first time on TV, and the Seek channel really appreciate that. But have you ever spoken to anyone at school about this, or have you had any other help apart from talking to your dad?
Yeah, I see someone every week. She's helped quite a lot.
And do you feel that talking to someone and how you felt while you was growing up with your mum drinking, and that helps you?
Yeah, it helped quite a lot to like kind of see past it.
That's really good, Stuart. I mean, that's quite interesting, really, that for someone as young as Ross, that the counselling maybe has helped, and maybe help, you know, the people that are counselling him, getting him to open up and talking about things of the past that he probably obviously was not willing to talk about. How important is it, do you think, that opportunities like this for yourself to speak on camera and provide that hope for other families, but also for, you know, young children like Ross to come forward and actually speak about their experience? You know, this is definitely going to offer a lot of hope to people.
I hope so. You know, I mean, it's quite difficult for people to open up and get things off the chest, and I think that's where a lot of the problems come from as well, because, you know, they're keeping it bottled up and nothing's actually going to get done about it, as in regards to, you know, you've got to let people know what's wrong in order for them to try and fix that problem.
Yeah. Did Nicola, did she ever go to any group meetings? Did she go to AA? Did she have did she go to any other service providers where she could gain help and access to possibly rehabilitation?
I think quite about a year before she died, I think it was sort of set in, and I think she knew, because obviously she was told by the doctors that you've got to do something about this, and I think she tried a few ways, but there isn't that much out there as in regards to help. You know, I don't think the government do enough. You know, they don't see that as a problem. You know, obviously, I can't really explain myself properly, but, you know, there isn't that much help out there. But
did Nicola go to AA though? Did she go? I mean, there is service providers out there. There is support groups. There is fellowships such as AA. You know, but isn't it ultimately down to the addict or the alcoholic or the drug addict to actually go and seek that help?
I think you've got to want to be helped in order to make that first step. You know, I think once you're there, I think you'll get all the help and support that you need, but it's just taking that first step. Some people don't want to do it. Some people don't know how to do it, I think, you know.
But when was it, do you think, after, when do you think Nicola actually realised, hang on, this is getting way out of hand and, you know, it's going to cost me my life? At what point did Nicola actually decide, hang on, I need help? And the alarm bells are really ringing loud and clear here.
I think it was a little bit too late for her in the end. When she realised, I think she was that far gone that there was really no help for her. She was given 2 weeks to live the year before she died, and that still didn't deter her. I think the drink had just got hold of her to a point where if she stopped, there's a good chance that she could have been really ill anyway, and may not have survived that. You know, it was difficult. You know, I mean, I'd split up from her some years before. That was due to alcohol, because obviously I'm not a specialist. I can't sort of deal with that. As much as I'd supported her over the years that it was happening, there's only so much people can take before they say enough's enough.
But you obviously were very keen, even though after you split up, you obviously wanted her to get better, didn't you?
Well, yeah, for Ross's sake more than anything. You know, the boy needs his mother at the end of the day.
Ross, it's very sad to hear what your dad's been saying, but is there times, you know, where you think that, you know, I wish Mum was here and maybe she'd listen to Dad or listen to the doctors?
Yeah, all the time, because she mean the world to me.
Ross, I'm sorry, you know, it is very upsetting for young children like Ross, and this is an opportunity for Ross as well on cameras to try and overcome this, and it, you know, Stuart, I can't express my gratitude towards you really, because, you know, a lot of people in our community are reluctant to come forward and talk about this, hence why we're willing to talk to anyone that's been through this problem. And, you know, alcoholism doesn't discriminate. You know, I'm an alcoholic, recovering alcoholic, but you know what you're doing is commendable. And what do you really hope that this achieves?
Well, as I said earlier, if it can help one person, you know, somebody can take something from this video, then I've achieved something, and I'd be happy, you know, that somebody's took something from this. From a different culture, and realise that they're not on their own, and that they can actually go out and get the help that they need to get on the right road to recovery.
Sasangaji, I just want to say once again, the Seek channel are doing their absolute best to help people who are struggling with alcohol addiction or drug addiction. And if you contact the Seek channel, give us a ring, email. And once again, it's all confidential. The support we provide and the services that we signpost you to are all private and confidential services. So please keep those phone calls coming in. And we do encourage people from our own community, from the Seek community, if you want to come forward and give your story, you want to share your journey, then please do so. We'll be more than happy for you to do that and offer hope. You don't realise how much hope you'll be offering people. And this is what Stuart's aim was today, to give this interview, to try and offer hope. Doesn't matter what background anyone is from, it's just to offer that little bit of hope for someone who's struggling out there. Ross, you're at school now. How are you doing at school?
Yeah, I think I'm doing quite well at school. Yeah, I just have like a few odd occasions that I get a bit upset about my mum, but other than that, I'm doing quite well at school, yeah.
Yeah, but it must be great to be able to talk to your dad and know you've got that comfort to talk to your dad. I mean, do you ever speak, you must remember the good times you had with your mum, surely?
Yeah, I remember quite a few good times, and I like to talk about them.
And that's always good, isn't it, to talk about the happy memories rather than always dwelling on some of the, you know, the not so pleasant things.
Yeah.
Well, Ross, you know, we wish you well here at the Seek channel, and we'd love to keep in contact with you so that you can support other kids as well. A lot of people are going to be phoning up and putting messages on the Facebook page saying how brave it is of you. So a big thank you. Do you have a message for any young children who are your age, say, and maybe they're struggling with a parent?
Make sure you tell someone. Don't keep it bottled up inside.
And do you think what the counselling you're having, and would you recommend that as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Stuart, it is very tough for Ross, and once again, I can't thank you enough. But have you ever sought any? AA, they do Alcoholics Anonymous, but they also have the Al-Anon group for family members. Have you ever accessed any support for yourself?
No, I looked into going to an AA meeting to sort of try and understand Nicola's point of view, but they're a bit reluctant to let people like myself in. It's usually the people that have got the illness that go. So I've not actually found a counselling meeting that would do that yet. As regards to myself, I never had a problem with alcohol, and I try and keep away from it, to be honest, after what I've been through over the years. Yeah.
No, I can imagine, you know, the reasons for you wanted to keep away from it. But have you, you know, I know a lot of people, like I say, are going to get a lot of comfort from listening to you and hearing your story, and that hope they're going to receive from your message today. But, you know, you've quite openly said to me in the past that you'll do anything. So if anyone ever wanted to come and talk to you and maybe just understand what life was really like living with Nicola, you'd be quite happy to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I might not have the answers. You know, everybody's circumstances are different, but, you know, I mean, I'd listen and try and advise somebody as best I could.
And how's life today for you? You know, without Nicola, you know, bringing Ross up on your own, you know, you're the mum, you're the dad, you know, life must pose its challenges.
Yeah, it's difficult finding a fine balance between being the father who sort of tries to bring a bit of structure and then the mother that tries to bring in the love, if you understand what I mean. You know, finding that fine balance, it's difficult, you know, and trying to replace your mother, that's, you know, that's even worse.
Ross is never going to be able to do that, replace his mother, is he? But you're trying your best to sort of make that easy for him by giving that extra love, nurturing him into being maybe the young gentleman that she wanted him to be.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying my hardest, but my big feet don't fit into her little shoes.
Ross, how does your dad do? You know, I know he's not going to substitute your mum, but, you know, I mean, to look at, he looks quite a scary man, doesn't he? Yeah. Is he quite gentle, really?
Yeah, he's definitely really gentle. Everyone would see him as this big scary man, but he's not.
So that's very nice. So you are quite easy to talk to. So if we did have any referrals, can we refer you some referrals?
Yeah, sure. You'd have to get some tattoos done while we do it, though.
Well, Sasangaji, I really want to thank Stuart and Ross for giving us this opportunity to come down here and talking to them. I know it's not been easy for Ross. It's still very difficult. It's just been over a year since he lost his mum to this addiction of alcohol. And also for Stuart, who lived with Nicola for many years, but even after they split up, he tried his best to support her. And that's all we can do, is try and support and guide these people who are struggling. And once again, as I said, anyone who is suffering, a family member who's struggling, the Seek channel are here to support you and guide you through those difficult times. We're not just here for the addict, but we're here for the codependents, the families as well. And people like Stuart who've been through this, and people like young Ross who have been through this, are also part of the Alcohol and Beyond team and are willing to help. It doesn't matter what background, alcoholism or drug addiction doesn't discriminate. So Sasangaji, please keep those calls coming in. And like I said before, it's all private and confidential. And if you want to come to the group meetings that we have at the Derby, Guru Arjan Dev Gurdwara, every Friday, as families or as individuals, you're more than welcome to do so. So Sasangaji, once again, on behalf of the Alcohol and Beyond team, I want to thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.